Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. To extend the civic welcome, may I introduce to you Baillie Greene, representing the Lord Provost of the City of Glasgow.
Good morning. A beautiful morning. Fortunately, we're stuck in here rather than out there. I always think people should never clap before you give your speech. You should only clap after it, if it merits those clapping. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Lord Provost of Glasgow and the people of Glasgow and Scotland, may I welcome you to this conference on nuclear disarmament and the replacing of Trident. This Council is proud to host today's event, and I'm delighted to see such a large turnout to discuss and debate a subject not only of national but international importance. In fact, I can think of no more pressing subject than the potential destruction of humanity and the pollution of our planet. Glasgow has a very strong association with the Scottish Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament. As you probably know, in 1981, Glasgow became one of the first local authorities in Scotland to declare itself a nuclear-free zone. Since then, many more cities have followed suit. Although in many ways this was tokenistic, it did show the world at large that we, the people of Glasgow, did not and do not agree with successive UK governments that Britain should possess weapons of real mass destruction. And that includes the present incumbent at number 10. We've provided the administrative and secretarial support to the Scottish activities of the nuclear-free local authorities for many years, with a number of Glasgow councillors holding prominent positions within that movement. Glasgow is also a member of the Mayors for Peace Network, an international peace campaign launched by the mayors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki some 30 years ago. Given that the nuclear arms industry is an adjunct of the nuclear power industry, we now fortunately have a government in Scotland who are vociferously opposed to both nuclear power and nuclear arms. The UK government is keen to commission nuclear power stations throughout Britain, but as the planning and consent in Scotland is within the ambit of the SNP government, no nuclear power stations will befall our fair land, and we are rapidly developing self-reliance on green, sustainable energy. If only the same controls over MOD facilities in Scotland were within the ambit of the Scottish Government, then this conference will probably be being held in London, contemplating the deployment of nuclear submarines on the Thames and a possible nuclear warhead storage facility somewhere in the home counties. This conference holds particular relevance as the UK Government will later this year be discussing whether or not to press ahead with design plans for new nuclear-armed submarines. I suppose that borrowing another 25 or 50 billion to add to the present zillions of our new national debt is small beer in the present climate. But personally, I could think of more pressing and essential things that we could invest in which could actually benefit the nation when we don't have, or do we have, any imperial pretensions. Also, on a really personal note, if we're going to spend on defence, let's at least equip our young men and women who serve in our armed forces on our behalf with equipment that's fit for purpose. My youngest son will do his first tour in Afghanistan this year, and I would wish him and his comrades to have the best, rather than second-rate equipment. This is your chance today to find out more about the future for Britain's nuclear weapons and what potential there is for Britain to reconsider its plans for Trident replacement. Trident remains the prime focus of your campaigning. Sorry, it's ours as well. And I still find it a frightening prospect that one Vanguard submarine based in Fastlane, only 30 miles down the road from here, carrying 48 Trident warheads, with only one bomb being equivalent to the power that destroyed Hiroshima. These bombs are regularly transported by road from the storage facilities in Douglas to the Midlands of England and pass through the city of Glasgow, only some 500 yards from these delightful surroundings. What is also astounding is information that has come to light using freedom of information powers, revealing problems and accidents while these warheads are being transported. And more recently, nuclear power crashes while at sea. I suppose it's Murphy's Law, isn't it? The more you've got, the more likelihood there'll be an accident. Unfortunately, with nuclear power, those accidents are devastating. I imagine that this news has probably galvanised your organisation's plans and made you more determined than ever to carry on your campaigning. However, hopefully, change is on the horizon. Only 2 weeks ago, President Obama gave a rousing speech in Prague about his pledge to reduce nuclear weapons. He has also announced, after a meeting with the Russian President, that the US and Russia aim to agree a new treaty to reduce warheads and possibly delivery systems by the end of this year. The President's work to reduce this nuclear threat so early in his presidency is certainly heartening and gives optimism to the wider disarmament debate. Let's just hope and pray these laudable statements are sincere, given his record as a senator is not one that displays any great commitment to the dismantling of the nuclear military machine. CND is one of the largest and longest running peace organisations in Scotland, campaigning against nuclear weapons and for a nuclear-free world. With the demise of the Cold War, it was assumed by many that the work of CND and others would in fact diminish. In fact, the opposite is now the case. We now live in a world where 9 nations have nuclear weapons. We live in a world where a number of other nations would also wish to be seen as big boys on the block and are presently developing nuclear weapons. It's not a smaller problem, it's a bigger one. For more than 50 years, your organisation has played a key role and made great contributions both to the national and international nuclear movements. This Council takes the view that nuclear energy and nuclear weapons present an extraordinary and unacceptable risk to people and to the environment. But we, like you, recognise it not just about nuclear-free issues, it's also about bringing peace to our world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can understand why we in Glasgow and throughout Scotland greatly respect what CND is trying to achieve through its campaigning. I hope we can all continue to make our own contribution to the peace and anti-nuclear movement. And I hope your conference is both thought-provoking and productive. On behalf of future generations, thank you.